Hi guys, it's Stuart here from Airshow World, and thanks for joining me on my latest tutorial. And today tutorial we'll be talking about handheld Whistler digital scanners. Okay, and basically how we're going to do this tutorial is I'm going to split it up into different steps. Okay, now if you look under the description of this video, yes, you will see chapter marks. In other words, you will see different sections that we're going to cover with an actual timestamp. So if you want to skip to any particular section that you want to get to, all you have to do is just click on those. Okay, so we're going to try to make this as simple as possible. It's just a way of structuring this tutorial. So if a certain part doesn't you're not interested in, you can get to the section that you want to. Okay, so steps that we're going to cover. Okay, so as I said, number one is looking at the handheld Whistler digital scanners. We'll be talking about the 1080, the 1088, and a quick mention of the TRX1. Number two, we'll be talking about, which is a very important step, making sure you set the batteries. Number three will be about using the correct software. I'll be showing you where to get the software from. Number four will be how to use CDAT folders / virtual scanner folders. And five will be about the power on timer. Okay, so that's the basic rundown of this tutorial. Firstly, I'd like to say many thanks to our sponsor, Moonraker, and there's a link straight to the Moonraker radio communication manufacturers and suppliers website. They are very kindly supplied the equipment for this particular tutorial. I've been for the last couple of weeks testing the Whistler 1088 scanner, which is basically pretty much the same as the TRX1 and the 1080. Now there is a couple of slight differences in them, and I will try to explain those for you in just a moment. So basically let's have a look at this, the 1088. This is the one which we are which I've been using for the last couple of weeks, as I say, thanks to Moonraker radios. Anyway, so the 1088 scanner. The difference between this scanner and the 1080 is the fact that it has the numbered inputs just here. Okay, so you can quickly input frequencies and whatever you want. Okay, so basically that's really the only difference. It's a nice feature, yeah. Difference between the TRX1, which is the very latest scanner. Okay, well, the 1088 really as far as firmware upgrades has got about as far as it can go with relationship to having the digital setups. In other words, having DMR. DMR is on the older scanners. If it's not actually enabled, you can download the very latest firmware for it. Yeah, the TRX2, the TRX1 handheld scanner also has the option of using NXDN, which is another format of digital radios. Okay, so really, if you're not too bothered about having the NXDN, you could just go for the 1088, and they are a lot cheaper, around about £100 less than the TRX1. That's at the current prices. Okay. Also, I should have mentioned this at the very beginning of the tutorial. All of the thoughts on all of my tutorials are just my own thoughts and my experience. It doesn't reflect on anything else, and I'm not saying that the way I do things are the correct way. It's just the way I like to set things up, and the way I find them working. Maybe some people out there watching these going, hey, well, why does he do it this way? Why doesn't he do it that? Well, yeah, I'm just trying to help people from the start. Okay, so that's really the differences between those. Yes, you could go into different arguments saying, oh god, this one's got a better reception than that one. But the actual basics of it is the 1080 does not have an input pad, and the TRX1 has NXDN. This radio that I've been testing cannot go any further as far. You cannot have NXDN put on here. Okay, so I think that's pretty straightforward enough. Yep, this is what the little keypad looks like. On some of my other tutorials, I've shown you guys how to use these. On the Whistler 2 tutorial, I believe it's in I think it's tutorial number 9. I can put a link in on this video as well, but it shows you how to use the FN keys. You just hit the FN key, and say for example you wanted to play back your recordings, you'd hit FN and then number 6, and that will take you straight into that particular shortcut. I'm not going to go through all those shortcuts because I've done the shortcut keys, and you can find those on my Whistler 2 scanner tutorials. Okay, so couple of very important steps that I will just mention now. On the side of the 1088, you have the USB input just here. It's lying underneath a little flap just there. You lift that up, put the USB cable in, and connect it to your computer. Now, this is very important. What you must do, okay, before connecting to the computer, make sure your scanner is switched off. Okay? Always do that, because reading through the forums, quite often people have said, oh, my Whistler scanner's got it's corrupted, it won't start, and lots of things like this, right? It can be caused by not following that step. Make sure every time you switch off that scanner before you plug it in to a laptop or computer. Okay, simple. Okay, here's a quick view of the top. They recommend for the squelch setting to have it around about here. Obviously, if you're doing stuff like let me think, when you're just scanning digital frequencies, yeah, I mainly have the squelch turned off. Yeah, but if you're scanning through anything like the AM airband or anything like that, yes, definitely around about that setting there, or even higher. Yes. Now I've noticed, comparing to say the Uniden scanners, which you'd probably only have them on about a 1. A 1 setting for the squelch. Yeah, on the Whistler scanners you need to have them a little bit higher. Doesn't affect the reception whatsoever. I've compared these two scanners, the Uniden 15X, and I've also compared the Whistler scanners, and to be honest, I've been getting better results from the Whistler scanners. Okay, but you do have to have the squelch slightly higher. Yeah, but it's not blocking out the distant because you'd think, oh, having it higher is going to block out the distant quiet frequencies. No, it's not, right? This is what I have found, and as I said, these are just my thoughts only. Okay, so that's a quick mention about that. That's obviously this section here. That's obviously where your aerial goes, and here's another little flap just there. Lift that up, and you can put your headphones in, and also it doubles up for an output which you can set within the menu settings to be able to give you raw data output. In other words, like a discriminator tap that some people put on the Uniden scanners that are not digital. Yes. Okay. I'm not going to go into explaining about those. If you go through I keep saying this, but you go through my other tutorials, I've explained all about those as well. Okay, and okay, right. So let me just close this little section. There were just a couple of fancy little pictures that I wanted to show you. Okay, so not gone into too much details there about the differences, but I think that highlights this. There's not much point, because that is really for first deciding which scanner to go to. The basic is, in this step number 1, is think about, okay, do I want a keypad? Okay, if you want the keypad, that gives you the option of saying, right, okay, I need the 1088. Then ask yourself this second question. Do I really want NXDN? So far, I have not found in my location any NXDN frequencies. That's probably totally different if you live, say, in a city. Okay, so if you lived in Birmingham or London, might be a different case. But 1088 is, as I said, about £100 less. So ask yourself those 3 questions, okay, and that should help you decide which one you want to go for. Okay. If you want to be future proof, yeah, probably the TX1. But if money's the option, that's it. Think about that. Okay, let's move to talking about step 2. Okay, so step 2, I mentioned about batteries for these handheld scanners. Okay, now let's just see if we've got a little photograph of okay, so here is the front of the radio. Okay, on the, you flip it over, so in other words, on the back of the 1088 TRX1 whatever, yeah, there's a little cover that comes off. Okay, it's around about that section there. It just comes off, and inside, obviously the radio does not come with batteries, at least I believe it doesn't. Now you have the choice either to put alkaline batteries in. Yeah, now if you have got alkaline batteries in this type of radio, it is very, and I mean very important, that in the battery compartment there's a little dial there, and you must set that to alkaline. Okay, that's if you're using standard batteries. In other words, to make it simple, batteries that do not recharge. Okay, batteries that you've just bought from the corner shop or wherever. Okay, they are alkaline batteries. You must have that set to that. Why is that so important? The reason is, when you plug this radio into the USB port of your computer, right, the radio, if it's got the alkaline setting, it won't charge the batteries. Okay, you could imagine that it would be an absolute disaster if you plugged the you had the wrong setting in that radio. Yes, for the batteries, if you had that selected to NiCad, Yeah, if you had that set to the rechargeable type of batteries and it tried to charge alkaline batteries, well, it would probably blow them up. Okay, so that's why I'm over stressing how important that is. So first thing, think about what type of batteries. Well, for me, I always use rechargeables. Because I've got loads of rechargeable batteries, and in the end it'll save you money. And also, this radio, when it is connected to a computer, yeah, it will recharge the batteries anyway for you. But I always have several sets recharged separately anyway by a separate charger. Okay, so if you're going to use alkalines, yeah, make sure it's set to that. If you're going to use rechargeables, yeah, and make sure it's set to the, I think it says something like NMH, or I will double check. Let's have a quick look. Got the radio right next to me, so there we go. I'm taking the batteries out. Let's double check for you guys, because I don't want to give you the wrong information and then people saying I've given the wrong info out. So let's have a look. Yeah, so it says there's an option. It's right in the middle of the battery compartment. In between, you've got two batteries. There's a little space for where this little slider is. So it's got NI hyphen MH. Yeah, and there's a little slider there, and then there's the other one for A. It says ALK. Okay, so make sure if you're using rechargeables, it is set to NI-MH. Okay, that's it. So there's me putting my batteries back in and putting the case back on. Okay, so what else have we got to say about this? Okay, software. So this is number 3. Step number 3. Software. So these radios, yeah, as a rule, they come with the little micro SD card. Yeah, tiny little things, very easy to be lost. Okay. Now those should come preloaded with software. Yeah, that's all fine. Yeah, and all configured. Whatever, that's great, no problem at all. But chances are you will plug this and it'll be so far out of date. Okay, so what I'm going to do, as usual, little description of the video. There's a link to take you to this website that I'm going to show you right now. Okay, so here it is, the whistlergroup.com. Okay, so this is how I would do things. I would go across, go to support, go to downloads. Okay, let's go down and select your scanner. Okay, so the one I'm using is the WS1088. Yep, you select whichever one is yours. This is the important step. Okay, you must use the correct software for your radio. Okay, it's very, very important. Use the correct software. So what I'm saying is, don't use say the TRX2 software if you're using a TRX1 or a 1088. There we go, 1088, which is what I'm using. Okay, you can use the same software for the remote control, but we are talking about the actual software. So download the software. Okay, and you download that from here. It's really easy to do. Or basically all you've got to do, right, is create yourself an account with Whistler. Yeah, your email address and everything else. Yeah, it will add it to a cart. Yeah, up there. Don't worry, it's all free. You don't have to pay for it. Another good thing where I think the Whistler wins over, say, Uniden scanners is so far all of their updates have all been free. Okay, if you buy the Uniden digital scanners, they charge you extra to be able to upgrade to the DMR and the other updates. Okay, so firmware updates can be done as well from here. You can download them direct from here, but you can do it all from within the actual scan within the Easy Scan software. Yeah, again, I've heard people complaining recently about the Easy Scan software. Yeah, well, hey guys, just remember this one important thing. Yeah, it's free. They are not charging you for their software. Yeah, I think the software is great, and the only complaint I have for myself personally is that once you've put your frequencies into the Easy Scan software, you can't get them out again. You can't export them. This is why on my previous tutorials I've mentioned that it's a good idea, before you put any frequencies into the actual software, that you save them into say an Excel spreadsheet. Yeah, I recommend doing that. There's other programs. There's a program called Whistler Q. Yeah, which I will put a download link in the description as well. That's a great piece of software. But if you know how to use Excel, yep, I recommend using that. It works superb. Okay, so that is basically. Well, I'm not going to go through all the details of how to download it and what have you. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so say you've now downloaded the actual software for the scanner. Okay, so what you're going to do, and in fact I'm going to go through this as we speak. Yes, my radio is switched off at the moment, and I'm going to simply plug it in. There we go. And because I've got the settings correct within the scanner, it's automatically charging the batteries. Okay, there you go. You probably hear that ding dong do. There we go, and that says it's actually plugged in. There's a problem. Well, no, there's not. Windows being clever or not. Thank you. Okay, so what we're going to do is have a quick look at the software for you guys, okay? Because I appreciate some of you may be looking at this for the very first time, and want to know what the actual software looks like. So there it is. Look, okay, I've installed it, and yeah, 1080/88. It's those two are the same. Okay. So that software that we downloaded works for the 1080 and the 1088. Don't use it for the TRX1 or TRX2. Okay, right, more than 7 days. Well, that's not, but never mind, more than 7 days. So, okay, yeah, all right, let's go off and let's have a quick check for any updates. So off it goes to the internet, and okay, so yeah, I've got the current software version. I've got the current CPU firmware. DSP software is up to date. Now, see these here. Okay, now for the United Kingdom, don't bother with that, and don't bother with using those. Okay, and therefore just really the USA and Canada. All right. If you are using the old software for the for your Whistler scanner, yeah, it's quite possible that you won't have this option here that gives you the United Kingdom. Okay, they introduced the United Kingdom version, I think, around about last October with their software. Okay, so there we go. For anything, just click that, and you've got United Kingdom up and running. So yeah, this is what it looks like. The actual software, it's an absolute cinch to use. I'm saying that, okay? I can assure you it's easy, okay? If you want to know how and the quick way to get these scanners up and running within just a matter of minutes, yeah, I will show you how to do this. but not in this tutorial. You've got to go right to my other tutorial, because I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I've already shown how to do this, okay? And you can find all of this and where to get the frequencies from my Whistler TRX2 tutorial. Yeah, and again, look through the description of the video. You'll see a link to the Whistler 2 tutorials, okay? But basically what I do, I show you where to get frequencies from. I also mention other programs to use, and also how to get them in here quickly, okay? And I've also got other tutorials for trunked radio systems. So yeah, we've got a lot of different tutorials, and they all explain each other. Okay, what I will show you on this section, right, is how to use CDAT folders. Okay, CDAT slash virtual scanner folders. Okay, all right. So this is step 4. Okay, step 4 that we are at now, and as I said, we're going to show you and try and explain about vScanner folders. I'm going to be fairly brief, okay, because if you want to know more information about the vScanner folders, I go into absolute depth about this on the TRX2 scanner tutorials, but I will just show you the absolute basics. If you want to see it in full detail, go through those other ones. Okay, right, so basically, what's a vScanner folder? Well, it's a CDAT folder. Okay, so when you first install your scanner, yeah, what it does, let's have a look how we're going to do this. Yeah, the first thing that it does is it will install the driver for you, so that when you plug it in, everything all works. But it puts everything into the My Documents folder. Okay, and that's exactly where I am now. You notice that? I've gone to the My Documents folder. Okay, I'll go through this step fairly slowly. Okay, I'll try to talk a bit slower for you guys as well, because I don't want to jump too fast. Okay, so I've got a TRX2, yeah, and the one I'm using at the moment for this tutorial, right, is the 1080/88. Okay, basically they're the same radio as I explained earlier, but one has the little keypad, one doesn't. Okay, let's go in there and notice, look, I've got lots of CDAT folders. When you first install it, the only one it will have is one called CDAT. Okay, and that's just got the basic information. Okay, now then, what I've done is I've copied, because I've got another scanner, yeah, as you noticed, I've got the TRX2 here. This is where I really like these radios. So all I did, I copied all of these, yeah, copied all of those folders, yeah, anything that says CDAT, VS, and notice they're all numbered. Now I found this quite important. One of the guys on the Whistler UK site was asking me the other day. He was having a couple of problems, saying, "Hey, Stu, I copied one of your folders. I put it into the where you suggested, into the My Documents folder of the actual scanner, yeah, and it still doesn't work. I can't see it." Well, this is what I found. Okay, remember, my thoughts only. This is what I found. I found that when you copy somebody else's CDAT folder, yeah, I found it important to name it in sequence. So you notice how I've named all of these, yeah? I've gone CDAT V underscore VS dot 001 and then right the way through dot 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 up to 18. That's my latest one. Okay? Now I found by doing that it works absolutely perfect. Yeah, I've never had any problems whatsoever. Okay, so that's how to name these. Okay, now CDAT folders is what we're talking about. So basically all I did here, because I've got the two scanners, I just copied those, right, and I put them into here, even though it's a totally different radio. The only time you might have a problem if you're using a radio that has not got NXDN is it might throw a bit of a wobbly if it falls, say, on the 88. If the 88 falls on something that you've set as an NXDN frequency, it might wonder what the hell's going on because it can't decode NXDN. Okay, really, I think that's about the only problem you will come across. Yeah, I've had that and I've just locked it out. Yeah. Okay, so we're in the folder for the 1088. Okay, so what's in these? Yeah, well, let's have a look. Let's go to the one I use quite a lot, VS number 4. Okay, and there's a description. Yeah. And it's called Civil Aircraft East Midlands Airport and Swanwick. Yeah, and I'll show you how to put that description in there shortly. Okay, and all this DAT information, yeah, don't touch any of that. Okay, let the vScanner program do that all for you. Okay, so let's have a look here then. What are vScanner folders all about? Well, as I said, you want to go into depth and find out more information. Look at the TRX2 tutorials. That will explain it. Okay, basically what we're going to do is we're going to open a vScanner folder. Okay, so that one I was on a second ago, number 4. Yeah, if I just scroll down here, look, you'll notice there's all the numbers. Yeah, corresponding. Okay, up to the 18 that I've got. Okay, I'll show you after we've imported this also how to create a new vScanner folder as well. Okay, hit that and then it comes. You notice it says TRX2, right, because these are exactly the same as my TRX2 ones. So if you want to make some changes, yeah, please do. And okay. Right, let's have a quick look through here. Frequencies, there they all are. Okay, notice all these different numbers, right? It's probably not making any sense to you at all, but you want to know how to do this? I've told you what to do. Alright, let's go back. Scan lists. What it does, I've created scan lists. Yeah. And I'm probably, if you're here for the very first time, talking double Dutch, but scan lists, this is what they are. Okay, so scan list is East Midlands Airport, that one there. Yeah, that's number 1. Number 2 is that one there, Swanwick. Yeah, what I think's a good idea, and I've been quite naughty on this one, I haven't got around to doing it, but what I would suggest you do at the start, because if you just click in here, look, probably go too fast again. Yeah, you just click anywhere in here, right? You can type whatever you want, and this is what will show on your radio. Okay, so this is like a folder that has got everything for, in my case, it's a scan list for East Mids Airport. Okay, so what I would suggest, that's saying that's number 1. So to make it easy for when you're inputting on one of these radios is possibly put 01. There you go. Okay, that one. I would suggest putting 02. Next one. Let's go 03. Yes. Now the reason for this, number 4, would be that when this is actually scrolling in your, when your radio is actually scrolling through, you'll know exactly straight away by what, whoops, that's number 5, sorry. All you'd have to do on your keypad is just hit 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5, or number 6, because we've got 6 here. Okay, so let's go 0, 6. Alright, I'd always put a 0 there first, because then when you get to the double digit numbers such as 10, 11, 12, right, these will still line up correctly. Okay, so that's whenever you do programming, it's always a good idea to put like 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3. Okay, alright, that's simple enough. Alright, so I've made a couple of changes there. This is how they look in the first place. So if you're going to create a new scan list and you wanted to put your frequencies into that scan list, and I don't know, say it was going to be called Derby, for example. Yeah, you just type Derby here after you've highlighted it, and over here where you've got all your frequencies, if you imported frequencies or typed them in manually, they would appear in the next list down here. Okay, so in other words, all your new frequencies are stored in this section. Okay. Okay, now over here, if I clicked just there, let me do that again for you. If I click just here, yeah, it brings up this box, select scan list. So in other words, it's saying, okay, for your new frequencies, what scan list do you want it to go in? So for example, if, like I was just saying, if I was putting Derby, I would select a new scan list. Watch out for this, because it always selects the default one first, so take that out, dump, put that, hit set, job done. Okay, that's as far as I'm going to go on that. That's a bit of a tease, I know, but I don't want to, as I said, reinvent the wheel, because I've gone through all of this before in the Whistler Scanner tutorial, and which I think it's called vScanner folders, but I will double check and put it in the description of this video. Okay, but the reason I just opened this up was just to show you where within Whistler Scanner it is stored. Okay, yes, I've got some trunk systems. Again, I'm not going to explain how to do those in this tutorial. This is where it's important, as we were saying earlier, to make sure you are using the correct software for the correct radio, because different things mean different things for different radios, because this is a handheld scanner. Okay, so it's got information for your batteries. Okay, it's got IF output information. Okay, so you set these up as you want. Again, more details on my other tutorial. Let's have a look. You see, look, this is slightly different here to a base radio. It's asking what to do with the backlight, and when it's on, yeah, when it's on batteries. Okay. All right. One thing I tend to do, personal preference really, I always have the on stealth mode for the sound settings, because I just hate the little beeps that every time you hit a button, yeah, or do anything, it goes beep 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 beep. Hate it. Drives, some people may like it, I hate it. So yeah, I just switch it off there. Okay, yep, that's about what I'm going to mention in that little section. If you wanted to create a new vScanner folder, what's the point of vScanner folders? Oh, should I? Okay. Basically, you can set totally different configurations. It's like having a totally different radio, right? So very quickly, okay, there's East Mids Airport, right? So I want everything to do with this local area. If I was going to a different part of the country, right, didn't want to have all that. I wanted something totally different. Or if I wanted a section that just had digital, yeah, I would have a different vScanner folder. Okay, so all you would have to do is, if you wanted to create one from scratch, go New, Configuration. Okay, go through the list here. Okay, so it goes up to 200, so that's a lot of different radios. So I always think of it as being like a different radio each time. Okay, so I've got 18 at the moment. I could go, okay, right, that one's empty. Right, I could use that one. So all I would do, I'd select that. Yeah, let's do that temporarily. Okay, yep, select. Alright, band plan. Alright, yep, automatically goes for the USA, United Kingdom. Yep, and okay. So that was just by doing New Configuration. Yep, I would suggest that you give it a description. Do you remember when we first started, I opened that text file and it said East Mids Airport and all the rest of it, yeah? Well, in this case, I'm just going to put Derby without a space. There we go. Okay. And what happens then when you go to open vScanner folder and we scroll down this little box here, instead of it having nothing in the description, it now says Derby. So you know straight away. So that's the reason for just going to File and put Description. So you know what it is. Yep, I go through all of these. I know what they all are. They all make sense. It's up to you guys whether you use vScanner folders or whether you have everything put into just one. I like to use these because it makes the radio nice and neat and it runs fast. Yeah, if you had literally everything thrown into one vScanner folder, chances are when you loaded up or switched on your radio, it would take quite a long time for everything to all load up. Yeah, so you notice I've kept everything short and sweet. Okay, I mean there's some ones here which are very long. In fact, I've put everything that I've got in my 15X into one. There we go, it's all there. And that only takes a couple of seconds to load. And there must be about, well, I'm probably exaggerating, probably 8 to 10 seconds. And that's probably got about 2,000 plus frequencies. Quite a lot. Okay. Alright, if you think I'm jumping over this a bit too quick for you, yeah, please look at the full description of this and how to use the actual software within the other tutorials. Okay, right, I think I will just double check through here if there's anything else we want to cover. I suggested, yes, going to the website and downloading in the first instance the actual software, because you would be getting the very latest software instead of one that's been sitting on the actual SD card for months or for a long time. Okay, what you can do from here, yes, you can go check for updates, check for firmware, okay, all of these things here. Okay, if at some time you have a problem at all with your radio, yeah, there's nothing to worry about really. Most of the time it is the fact that Windows has very nicely corrupted your SD card, which can happen, and because this radio is actually runs off the SD card, all of the information is on the SD card. Yeah, the best way to think about it is that the radio is like a computer and the SD card is like a hard drive. That's the best analogy that I use. Okay, so, and you know what your own computers are like, they can get corrupt at times. Yeah, and that's why it's important when you plug in your cable, make sure you've got the radio switched off, because you can corrupt these SD cards. It's not a fault. I don't believe it's a fault with the software or the radio or anything like that. what I tend to do is say, look, it's not a problem, don't worry about it, there's a way to fix it. And all you would have to do is you can prepare the card for first use by hitting that. You could then format the card, yeah, and then when you've done all of that, you can then copy everything off your computer back to the SD card by going copy configuration to scanner memory card by clicking on that. Just make sure you get it the right way round, yeah, because if you went copy configuration from scanner memory card, think about it, if you just reset your card and went okay, yeah, send everything back and you did that, right, it would copy absolute everything blank from your radio to your computer, and it would wipe out all of this. Okay, the times when you would copy configuration from your scanner to your SD card would be if you've been out in the field and you found lots of new frequencies and you wanted those to go back to your computer. Yep, and you'd click on that. Okay, let's have a look. No, don't bother with that because, as I mentioned, the library is mainly for the USA. Let's have a look. Oh yes, here's a handy little one. When your radio is connected, all of these things that I'm telling you about at the moment is with the radio, let's say, switched in the off position. Okay, you could set real time, so instead of having to go ... on your radio, setting it up manually, you can just say to the computer, okay, send the real-time clock, in other words the time on your computer, to the radio, and there we go, date and time has been sent, and yeah, and that's it. That's a lot quicker than you doing it manually. It's done within a second. Okay, so well, that's that. We just mentioned the updates. Yes. Anything else of interest here? Nope, that's just about it on this particular section. For more details though, in depth on the other tutorials. Right, let's just minimize that for the moment, and that one there. Okay, the last section, number 5, step 5, power timer. Okay, step 5, power timer. What's that all about? Well, that's a great feature that I really like about the 1088, and I'll explain what that's all about. Okay, let's just bring this up. Okay, so within the radio itself, if you go into the actual menu, in fact, I will tell you what, I'll make it even easier. I'll show you how to do this right from scratch, and it will be opportunity for you to be able to see the software working as well, the actual remote software that is downloaded from the stage that was in step, let's have a look, that was in step 3. Okay, so for this section, what we're going to do is, okay, radio is connected to the computer. Alright, so with the radio connected to the computer, I'm going to press the power on the radio, so it's powering up. Now, when you power the radio up, when it's connected to your computer, right, you will no longer be able to use the software here. Okay, if you went to let's have a look, to send information back to the radio, it won't work. Okay, so that's when you've got your radio powered on. All right, but and also you won't see it anymore within your file explorer. So if we went to, let's have a look, if we went to the My Computer icon, which in Windows 10 I always struggle to find for some reason. Let's have a look. It's there we go. My computer. I'm as blind as a bat as always. Let's have a look. My PC. There it is. Okay, down, down, down. And no, I can't see it anymore. All right. Okay. That's because I've got the radio powered on. But we're going to launch the actual remote software, which we've got somewhere lying around here. There we go. Digital mobile. That's TRX2. Just let me go up. Oh, I'm so prepared today. Not control demo. There it is. Let's run that. Okay, so there it is. Will it work? Well, I doubt it'll work at the moment because I bet it's not on COM port 1. No. And what you could do, you could go through all of these COM ports and you could try to find it. Wow, that's going to be a long-winded job. So instead of doing that, what we'll go to Device Manager. Okay, Device Manager. Right, within Device Manager, with a bit of luck, we should see under ports. Yep, US. There we go, and it's telling us it's put it under COM port 7. Okay, so that's from Device Manager. Okay, did you understand how I got there? I just typed in here Device Manager and it took me there. Okay, so COM port 7, it's saying this is lying on. Alright, possibly another way you could do it, right clicking on there and going to properties, but that's how we've done it. COM port 7, let's see if it works. Hit number 7 from there. Let's go begin. Alright, and there we go. Now we've got control of the radio. Okay, so it's a little remote device. Again, they call it a demo, so hopefully at some point they'll improve it even more. Right, but it does basically, it does what it should. I quite like it. Again, it's a free piece of software, so you can't really complain about it too much because it's say it's free. Right, so what we were going to do is go to the main, go down to the menu. So let's go down, program menu. Alright, we were going to show you about the program on timer. Alright, global settings. We're going to go into the global settings. Alright, so let's now go up and see if we can find this setting that we're looking for. The power on timer. I'm not going to go through all the other settings. If you want to know more about that, again, look at my other tutorials because it is all of these in depth are all there. Slightly different to the to my other one. Charge time, low bat time, clear logs. No, let's go up a little bit further. Let's go up. I've got a horrible feeling I've whizzed straight. Ah, it's down there. Welcome light. In fact, I thought I saw it just a second ago. Let's go through slowly. Light on time. Right, light, time both. Right. Let's go through a little bit more. Okay, so I'm not going to explain what they all do. Enable record, that, yeah, that's okay. And up we go through a few more. Auto power on. Let's go down. Here it is. I went straight by it. Apologies for that. Okay, so auto power on. This is what I like about this radio. So you can put a tick in there, right? And then you can put a time. So in other words, what you can do with this radio is you can set it to actually automatically power on at a certain time. That's why it's important to have the correct time set on your radio, not just for this reason, but also when it records anything, it will put a timestamp on so that when you're going through seeing when it recorded, you'll automatically know. But for here, you can set a time for when, and there we go. You go through here. Let's, so we could say, okay, yes, power up at that time. So that would come on at 12:30. in the morning, or just go right the way through. Okay, so now I really like that feature. Somebody answered this question for me in the description, especially Whistler. Why, oh why, oh why is this not in the TRX2, the base scanners? Why has this not been put on? I think it's a brilliant feature. I really like it, and I just cannot understand why they have not incorporated this into the base radio. I've hoped several times when they've done an update that it would be there, but it's not. So there it is. That will automatically power on your radio and get it to automatically start scanning, and it works a treat. Yeah, I really like that. Once it's done it on that particular day, because it's not going to do it it's not clever enough to do it on different days. Once it started that particular day, it would then go to 00. You'd have to go back and get it to do this again, but it's a handy little feature. I'm not going to go through all the controls of the remote scanner. I mentioned earlier, we've already been through all of that. One little bit I will do. Let's go back to the main menu. Save changes. No, I'm going to skip because I've already got it set up. Okay. In the very latest update for the radios, what you can do is use they've put more features for the FN key. That's your FN key, just there. Okay, and if you hit that and then go to number 1, it will automatically start scanning. Let's have a look, and there we go. My radio should now be scanning. Okay, let's go back. FN1. Okay, and there it goes. It's scanning. Okay, we'll go back to menu. If I hit FN and went to number 6, yeah, that goes straight into my recorded anything that I've recorded. Okay, so these are all of my recordings. Let's have a look to prove that. Yes, that was done on the 15th of the 2nd. Okay, that's as far as I'm going to go with showing you any of that, because as I just mentioned a second ago, it is all we don't want to rewrite the wheel. Okay, I've already gone through all of that. Okay, so I think that just about wraps this up. Again, like to say big thanks to Moonraker for providing the actual radio to enable me to be able to do these tutorials. Very soon I hope to be able to compare the Uniden scanners, especially the Uniden digital scanners, with the Whistler scanners to compare side by side, and that's one we're hoping to do in the very near future. So yes, as always, many thanks to Moonraker. Thanks to you guys for having the patience to listen through this tutorial. Hope it was useful. I hope the new structure of the tutorials have helped for you to be able to jump straight into the section that you're particularly interested in. And always, I would like to mention, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up on the video. If you subscribe and select the option that says get notifications, you'll get an email whenever we put out a new video, which is something which will help you along. It's not just tutorials obviously that we do on here. We've got nearly 500 now different airshow and aircraft videos, all sorts, base visits, low flying aircraft, so a lot of information, a lot of tutorials, a lot of videos, a lot of stuff to keep you busy for a long time. Okay, hope you found this useful, and look out for the next tutorial, which will be coming very soon. Thanks and have a great day. Thank you.